What's this now?
Cash? Fly away, little butterfly.
Hey.
Look, you shoot me, ain't nobody getting paid.
It's got nothing to do with money.
The story kicks off with Cash, a former criminal who's turned his life around. These days, he enjoys a peaceful existence on a farm alongside his niece, Savannah, and her father, Finney. Life hasn't been easy for Finney. He's still struggling to cope with the loss of his wife, who passed away a few years back. Cash, being the responsible one, keeps an eye on things, making sure the farm runs smoothly and checking in on Savannah and Finney. Cash starts his day with a workout before heading over to remind Finney about his responsibilities around the house. Running a farm isn't just about feeding animals. It means dealing with all the messy chores too. Cash spends part of his day cleaning up manure and even steps in to help when a horse goes into a difficult labor. Every second counts when you're living this kind of life. Later on, Cash and Savannah get ready for Sunday service, but Finney, still drowning in guilt over his wife's death, refuses to join them. He promises he'll meet them for lunch at a cafe instead. At church, the preacher, Wilder, delivers his sermon. Cash knows him from the past. Back in the day, they were both part of the same gang, small-time crooks. Wilder walked away from that life after turning to religion. Cash, on the other hand, didn't leave until tragedy struck. His sister overdosed on the very drugs he used to sell. When Cash and Savannah arrive at the cafe, Finney is nowhere to be found. Cash steps outside to call him, but before he can reach him, trouble finds them. A couple of low-life criminals, Buck and Doe, show up, sent by the city's crime boss, Big Cat. They start harassing Savannah, but Cash isn't about to let that slide. He steps in, demanding they let her go and deal with him instead. Turns out, Finney borrowed a whopping $100,000 from Big Cat to keep the farm afloat, and now he's unable to pay up. Buck and Doe aren't just here for a friendly reminder. They're making it clear that if the debt isn't settled soon, things are going to get ugly. Back at home, Cash confronts Finney and learns the situation is even worse than he thought. Finney tried to secure a bank loan to cover the debt, but there's a catch. The bank is controlled by Big Cat's son, Zach. Essentially, their farm is as good as lost unless they figure something out fast. Meanwhile, across town, two small-time crooks, Reggie and Harland, stumble upon a hidden drug lab. Thinking they've hit the jackpot, they decide to steal some high-grade drugs. But their plan backfires. Reggie falls into a trap and gets impaled by deadly spikes. Harland, horrified, tries to escape but ends up captured by the lab's guards. Determined to fix things, Cash goes to the bank to talk to Zach. But he soon realizes money isn't the real issue here. Big Cat has a bigger agenda, and she wants something else. While Cash is out, Buck and Doe pay another visit to the farm. This time, they aren't messing around. They rough up Finney and drag him outside while Savannah fights back, managing to injure Doe in the process. But she's no match for them. They take her hostage, leaving Finney with a brutal warning: pay up or lose everything. To make sure Finney gets the message, Buck fires a gun near his ear before taking off. Desperate, Cash goes to the police for help, but the sheriff and his deputy, Duke, are useless. They claim they can't do anything without hard evidence against Big Cat. Frustrated but not defeated, Cash decides to confront Big Cat himself. When they finally meet, she lays out her real terms. She doesn't care about the farm or the money. What she really wants is for Cash to do 3 jobs for her. In exchange, she'll wipe out Finney's debt. With no other choice, Cash agrees. Before heading home, he sits Finney down and urges him to get his act together. Drinking his problems away isn't going to help. Savannah needs him, and it's time he starts living for her. Meanwhile, Big Cat gets to work questioning Harland, wanting to know who sent him. Harland swears he was acting alone, just looking for a quick score. Big Cat believes him, but not before cutting off one of his fingers as a warning. Not long after, Cash gets a call. His first job? Teaming up with Buck to track down Harland and make sure he doesn't become a problem. When Cash arrives at Harland's place, he realizes something big is about to go down. A rival gang is planning an all-out assault on Big Cat's crew to avenge Reggie's death. Knowing backup is on the way, Cash waits before launching an attack with Buck and a few other thugs. A brutal shootout follows, leaving nearly everyone dead. The only survivor tries to make a run for it, but Cash takes him out just as he reaches the back door. The fight is over, but Cash knows this is only the beginning. The next morning, Cash spends time with his family, teaching Finney how to hunt and showing Savannah how to handle their game. It's a rare moment of peace, but it doesn't last long. At the break of dawn, another call comes in. It's time for his second job. This time, Cash and a couple of enforcers are headed to a drug deal. Big Cat suspects someone in her operation has turned traitor, working with a rival crew. And Cash is about to find out who it is. Cash has to figure out who the snitch is. When he gets to the meeting spot, one of his crew members turns on another, assuming he's the traitor working for the competition. They're expecting the buyers to show up any second. Acting fast, Cash stashes the dead guy in their van and uses his phone to send a fake text, trying to keep the deal on track. But the rival gang picks up on the odd vibe, and before long, bullets start flying. Cash takes down 2 of them and injures a third before suggesting they just go through with the deal. He hands over the drugs, grabs the cash, and leaves. Later, Cash meets up with Finney to swap vehicles and destroy the van with the body still inside. Back at home, he finally confesses he's been working for the criminals just to settle his debts and secure his farm. Only one more job left to go. Not long after, Cash reaches out to Deputy Duke with a plan to bring Big Cat down, fully aware she might try to double-cross him. Meanwhile, Duke makes his own move, pulling over Big Cat's courier, a twitchy girl who ends up busted with a trunk full of drugs. One night, Duke and Cash go over a map, marking drug lab locations, with Duke promising a massive bust. But Big Cat catches wind of it and isn't about to let it slide. She has Duke kidnapped and brought to her hideout. Buck and Doe, her right-hand thugs, torture him while Cash tries to talk his way out of it, suggesting they keep Duke hidden instead of killing him. Big Cat isn't having it. Furious, she executes Duke herself and dumps his body for her dogs to feast on. Cash is then given a new mission: dispose of Duke's remains. He foolishly thinks finishing the job might set him free, but Big Cat has no intention of letting him walk. By morning, she discovers Cash was working with Duke behind her back. As he tries to complete the map, her enforcers track down Finney and Savannah. Finney finally decides to go to church, but Buck and Doe are already waiting. They beat him badly and attempt to take Savannah. Wilder, a preacher with his own rough past, steps in just in time, managing to scare the thugs off. By the time Cash reaches the hospital, it's too late. Finney doesn't make it. Fueled by grief and rage, Cash swears he'll take down the criminals responsible. He starts his revenge at the first location on the map, running into Doe and another goon. He takes them out in a firefight but ends up in a car crash, injured and dazed. As he tries to escape, he realizes his car keys are missing. Meanwhile, Buck, now on the run, hides out in the woods, waiting for his next move. Buck has a reputation for being merciless. He's already taken out 2 people recently. Now, he and his gang set their sights on Wilder and Savannah. They attack Wilder and abduct Savannah, setting up the ultimate standoff. Cash and Wilder team up to get her back. Their first move? Kidnap Big Cat's son, Zach, and offer a trade, Zach for Savannah. Cash infiltrates Big Cat's hideout, taking down guards as he moves in. Meanwhile, Wilder arrives, with Zach tied to his car's hood as leverage. Inside, Savannah manages to slip away from her captors and even takes out one of the guards herself. Things spiral out of control. Thugs go after Wilder, determined to finish him off. Cash battles Buck in a brutal fight, but takes some serious damage. Zach, meanwhile, seizes a chance to escape, but ends up being mauled by his mother's own dogs. Wilder eliminates the last thug, but doesn't get away unscathed. Big Cat finally returns, full of fury, ready to settle the score with Cash. She launches at him, but before she can strike the final blow, Savannah steps in and takes her out, ending it for good. Months later, life has settled down. Wilder, fully recovered, returns to his ministry. As for Cash, he finds peace working the farm, looking after Savannah, and finally leaving his past behind.